Hey everyone, so in this short video what we're going to talk about is how to export sound banks out of Wwise, but also how to customize the compression ratios going outside of Wwise. So the first thing that we want to talk about is your platform manager, and you basically go up to your project menu and then choose platform manager, and this is where you can add in different platforms that you're working on. If I'm working on just a Windows game, then I would obviously need Windows. But if I need to also release to a different platform like Android or Mac or iOS, then I would add that in. And I can copy settings from from whatever I have in here. Right now I started with Windows, and let's say I do Windows and Android, and then I hit OK. And then I go and it says, all right, are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to proceed? Then you hit yes. Basically, it has to reload everything once you add a new platform, and you can see it doing that here. It's reloading everything into Wwise so that it can start making room essentially for that secondary platform. So let's talk a little bit about compression and how things get compressed. Now, generally, the way that you start to work on things is you create a sound bank, and that sound bank can consist of many different items, including events, or it can include, like we can take some of this switch container and include it into our project. Generally, you're working within the sound banks window, and you can see that here. So I have my new sound bank. If I look at it, you can see below that the new music switch container has been included in that because I dragged it in before. Then I can select my platforms and what language, and then I export all that to disk. Now, if we didn't do anything else, it's going to use the default settings for your Android and Windows platform. But let's go ahead and start looking at where we can actually customize that data. So if we go back over to our new music switch container over here, and then switch back to interactive music so we can see the properties here. There is at the top here, you can see that there are all these tabs, and in source settings, right now it's set to default conversion settings, and you can actually edit that. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, you can see here both of our platforms are included on our default conversion settings. I can actually have multiple conversion settings to check things, but this is where I might say, all right, Windows, I want to convert towards to Vorbis files, and I can set the quality at defaults at 4. And then on Android, what I want to do is maybe go smaller. So what I'll do is also go to Vorbis, but instead of going to 4, maybe I go to 0 quality. The higher this number, the better quality audio files that you'll have. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we can do is we can go back to the sound banks and actually convert and export our sound banks and things like that. Or in here, what we can do is we can actually convert them. And we can convert for both platforms and hit the OK. And then what it's going to do is convert all your files appropriately for each of those platforms that you're set up to use. And basically now when I export my banks over, and if I go to the sound bank window here and I select my banks and go generate sound banks, what it will do is actually create those sound banks on disk. So I hit generate, and that's going to create them on disk. And now I can go over to my disk here and actually look at inside of my master folder here, and inside of generated sound banks, you'll actually see now we have Android and we have Windows, and we can see the banks, the generated sound banks should be, oh, they're right here. So new sound bank, and then here, new sound bank. Now if we review that, the Windows one is 3.3. You remember I compressed the Android one a little bit more. The bank for Android is about half that size at 1.7. Okay, and that's one more thing that I want to talk about, which is in share sets over here. That's where we're actually finding our default conversion settings. And we can actually look at those properties. I'm going to go to Designer and then double click here. And that's where we can sort of bring these up. We can have multiple conversion settings, and so I can create a new one, and maybe I call this a smaller sound files, and it would be a different conversion set that I might want to pick for maybe certain types of sounds I have in the game. Maybe all the music is at one rate and all the sound design is at a different rate. You can set that up in terms of compression for different types of sounds that you have. So if I wanted to switch to smaller sound files, I could go over to the audio tab, and then individually I could sort of bring up the properties and then change it from default to a different setup. And that's it. So good luck, and looking forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.